and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be custom painting this PS1. I've never tried anything like this on my channel before, so hopefully you will all really enjoy it. Let's get straight into it. I dug my old PlayStation out of the garage. It's been in storage for absolute years, so I thought I would do something with it. I first of all gave it a good clean because it was covered in dust and grime, and obviously I wanted a nice clean surface to work on. And I also covered up the PlayStation logo because I want that to remain in the piece as well. To get started, I sketch out two characters. I'm just using a regular pencil for this, and I've chosen to draw Spyro and Crash Bandicoot because those are two absolute classic games from my childhood, and I just really wanted to add those onto this PlayStation 1. So I'm using acrylic paints for this piece, and I'm going to start by just adding a complete layer of this purple to Spyro on his body, because I'm going to then slowly work up on my tonal values and just get those in looking good. So just a really light base colour of purple for now, and I'm not using any fancy acrylic paints for this. I'm just using regular old acrylics. I've seen people using Posca paints or Posca pens for this. I haven't got any, so I've gone in with my acrylics and I'm hand painting with a paintbrush. In terms of prep of the actual PlayStation, all I did was clean it. I didn't sand it down or give it a light layer of sanding because this isn't something that I'm going to really be using, so I'm not too worried about the paint being chipped off. I'm pretty confident that it will remain fine as it is. I'm now slowly starting to work on my tonal values on Spyro's face, so I'm adding in some light tones and some dark tones just to accentuate that facial expression of those eyebrows and capturing the light on where it would naturally sit and hit on those parts of his face. So I'm just varying up tones of my purples and just making sure that I get those in correctly. Now, if it's not entirely perfect, it doesn't matter because I can always go over this again a little bit later. I'd love to know what characters or designs you would add to your old games consoles. What was your favourite game growing up, or what is your favourite game now? What type of design would you go for? Let me know in the comments what you would do with some of your old consoles. When I got to this part of the painting, I started to feel like it was really coming to life. Adding in those tonal values to those horns, I just felt like it really started to take off, and I was getting really excited and I was so pleased with how it was starting to turn out, because sometimes when you're painting it goes through a little bit of an ugly stage, but when I got to this point here I was really starting to become quite happy with how it was starting to look, and I was really enjoying the process of painting on a PlayStation. I've never used any surfaces like this to paint on before, so it was a really good learning curve. I've only ever really painted on canvas or in my sketchbook or on board before, but working on this surface was definitely interesting. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see me customize in another video. For the wings, I added in just a really light base colour of a sort of a pinky purple so that I could paint over them and create a bit more depth with my darker tones. From my reference image, one side was a lot darker than the other, so I was really trying to build up those tones that I could see from my reference image and to make it look like there was a little bit of form to them. And I'm really pleased with the overall outcome of these wings. I think that I was able to achieve what I was kind of going for with some of the different colours, and overall I'm quite pleased with them. Now on to my absolute favourite character from PlayStation, and that's Crash Bandicoot. I could not create a PlayStation 1 customization video without painting Crash Bandicoot. I think he's the most iconic games character ever. I just love playing on Crash Bandicoot games so much when I was growing up that I just really wanted to paint him. I did really love Theme Hospital, but I thought maybe that would be a little bit too niche for this video, so obviously I didn't add that in on this painting. Much like the Spyro, I'm just adding in my base layer first of all of sort of the oranges and the browns, and then I will refine them all later on in the painting to make sure I get all of those tonal values correct in the painting. But there's not as much to the Crash Bandicoot painting as there is in the Spyro painting. I had some major issues with this release button. It kept just triggering off all the time, and then I messed up my painting, but luckily it was quite easy to just fix that issue. But how much better are games consoles nowadays that you can just download your game and not have to worry about the release button being caught by accident. But anyway, I'm just working on the tonal values of Crash Bandicoot shorts, and I'm using just a regular ultramarine blue and then changing that up with a little bit of black and white just to create the different tonal values of that piece. And then I'm finishing up his big shoe and creating just the effect that he's stomping forward. And then I'm working on the eyes. I always find the eyes really bring the piece together, and to create the colour of Crash Bandicoot's eyes I used a forest green mixed with the yellow ochre just to get that correct colour, and then just leave a little segment out for that bright highlight that I could see in my reference, and then just add in that dot for the pupil, and I was really pleased with that actual little outcome. Once I've finished my painting, I'm then going to lightly sketch out a background because I don't want just these two characters to kind of sit floating on the surface of my PlayStation. So I've added in the mask from Crash Bandicoot because I don't think that it would be right without including the mask. And then I'm going to add in some green foliage around Crash Bandicoot. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that I love plants and greenery, so I really love all of the lush green leaves in the Crash Bandicoot games. So I'm adding that in as a background, and then along the bottom I'm going to add in the wumpa fruit because obviously Crash Bandicoot collects this fruit up as he's going through the game. And I just really enjoy the blending process. So for me, creating those wumpa fruits was really enjoyable. Having that green along the bottom and then blending into a yellow and an orange. I just found that process really enjoyable, and it gave a little bit more of a painterly texture to the piece, which I really enjoyed. And because I allowed my paints to just blend into each other whilst they were still a little bit wet, it was a really easy way to blend on this plastic surface. But I just love how it looks like Crash Bandicoot's running through a field of these wumpa fruits, and there's a little path between them, and I just think that it's really fun to incorporate some of those details from the game into my actual piece on the PlayStation 1. For the background behind Spyro, I'm going to add in a box hedge. So behind him there's going to be this hedgerow and then a little spiral within the hedge, because these are some of the details from the original game that I thought I would include in this PlayStation 1 customization. And then along the bottom, just like the Crash Bandicoot, I'm going to include sort of a little field of gems that Spyro is sitting or standing within, and I just thought it would incorporate the two ideas of the wumpa fruit and the gems really well and try and create some sort of consistency across the two styles of the characters. So using the highlights and then just sort of that random formation of where the gems are all sitting. I tried to keep in sort of a semi-realistic style for the gems, so making sure there are the highlights and the dark tones to make them look semi-realistic. And then in the space between the gems, I'm just dotting around some other colour to make it look as though these larger gems are sitting on top of other gems. And then for the actual ground, I am just adding in some grey pavers so that it looks like there's a path leading through those gems. And then lastly, I'm just adding some turrets into the background of Spyro, and I'm going to also add in a really nice blue sky, and then I think this piece is almost finished. To paint the outer part of the PlayStation just with a very light purple. So this purple is very similar to the one used on Spyro that I mixed, and I think it just complements the rest of the piece really well, having that flat layer of the purple. And then eventually I can then reveal that PlayStation symbol again within the middle of the piece. And I think it's pretty much done. Let me know in the comments what you think of this final outcome of my first ever customization painting. Would you like to see more customization videos? And if so, what would you like to see? I had the absolute best time painting this. It was so much fun. If you have enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you would like me to custom paint on next. And also make sure you subscribe if you are not already subscribed so you never miss out on any of my videos. I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.